other people, if they want full privacy and don't share the location, I also respect that.
Especially if they're not married.
Yeah,
we never did that until
till we
2
actually,
or 3 years into the relationship,
yeah,
when it made sense.
But I also had a bet with, actually that was my first boyfriend. My second boyfriend, already upon our breakup, in the day when we were breaking up, he told me, every time you went to sleep, I was reading your messages on your phone, because I trusted him. He had access to my phone. I had access to his phone. I've never touched that in my life.
Yeah.
He was reading messages with like my friends and everything. I just couldn't believe that, like, I never even like thought of that, but that happens.
Insecurity.
Yeah.
People who are insecure, they need to do that, and they need to go through, and they're going to take anything out of context. I remember my very first girlfriend ever. This was back when like nobody even had cell phones. In like
you're old.
I think it was 2000, the year exactly 2000. She went on vacation. I like went to pick something up from her dad's house, and she left her computer open. I went through her email.
Oh my God, you're horrible.
I was terrible. I found an email to another buddy saying that Robbie's a bad dancer. And like, I confronted her about it, and of course I didn't tell her that I went through her email, but the only way, she's like, I only told that to one guy, that was Ian. And like, you must have, like, she kind of figured it out. Yeah. But I never admitted to it. So Tanya, if you're watching this, I'm sorry.
You were bad. That's horrible.
All it did was ruin my confidence with dancing, and it was terrible. Like, I wish I had never done that. So I didn't do it ever again since then. But it's also so stupid.
It's also can be out of the context. Maybe
she was only saying it to Ian because she felt bad for him, because she kind of like, I think he had a crush on her too, and she chose me over him.
Exactly. So you never know, what's happening in the conversation. Maybe their both were attending dance classes and they're like professional dancers or something. You never know. And like also this emoji. Like you send this like hugging emoji. I'm like, this is my not best friend. This is like my family friend that I grew up with since I was 5.
Send like a kiss or something, and someone gets all pissed.
Yeah, it just like you like go through all of my other emojis. Like I send them all the time.
Yeah. So don't do that. If the girl you're dating is doing that, run for the hills. Get rid of her. All right. Red flag number 4. Sex is weaponized, or it just feels a little bit off. Maybe you feel like you can't fully relax during intimacy. She might withhold sex, use it as leverage, or twist your boundaries somehow. If you're confused, if you're emasculated, or it just feels off, trust that. I don't think we need to really go into this a ton. I just think if it doesn't feel right, then that's a signal that you should probably find somebody where it does feel right. Because this is, in essence, if you decide to be monogamous, the person you're going to spend, a really long period of time with, hopefully. And if that part is off, that's the only part of the relationship that is different from your other relationships, right? Like you can be friends with your dog, you can be close with your family, but the only thing intimate about an intimate relationship is the sex part. So if that part's off, like find somebody where it's not off.
Exactly. Obviously there can be, days when, you don't feel right and all those things, and you need to respect that. For sure. But as Robbie said, if someone withholds sex or, how do you call it?
They use it as a weapon. They use it to control. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's immediate no.
So remember, sex should build closeness, not confusion. The next red flag, she has a broken relationship with her own family. A woman who talks about how toxic or crazy her whole family is and takes zero ownership usually hasn't done the work to break that cycle. Be careful, you might become the next emotional dumping ground.
Oh, I agree with that. But the thing that the big problem was that when someone has such a dysfunctional family, and there are a lot of people who came from dysfunctional families and they're beautiful people, you can work through. But, I was just watching, it's not barely the case of an adoption in Ukrainian family. They adopted a girl and they have their own kids. One of their own kids was doing something bad and the adopted girl said, let's tie him up. Like a normal thing. And when they worked through this little girl said that when she was behaving bad, she was tied up. Mm-hmm. So for her, that was a normal thing to propose. Let's tie him up. He's behaving bad. Yeah. Because in her brain, it's something normal. I behave bad, I'm getting tied up. So like in families that are like toxic, there is a lot of things that those families are doing that now, the adults think it's normal, and they're going to be doing it to you, and they're going to make you do this to your own family because in their eyes, it's normal when it's not.
So yeah, if those people don't do the work and they figure out, how their family kind of screwed them up, then it's not your job to do that for her, right? Better to find somebody who doesn't. Everyone has baggage. Everyone has trauma of some degree, right? You can lose a balloon as like a 2-year-old and have trauma from that, but it doesn't mean it's your job to fix her, right? So don't be Captain Save-A-Ho, White Knight, cuck, all those things.
No, if a person really seeks help, of course, you should try helping. But if the person does not want to be helped, you cannot help that person.
Exactly. So the next one is she doesn't have close female friends, or she doesn't have close female friends anymore. Either she never had real friendships to begin with, or she slowly dropped all of them as she zeroed in on you. This makes you her only emotional outlet, which becomes suffocating.
Oopsie, I don't have any friends.
It's not true. You have a lot of friends.
No, I'm joking. No, I moved from a different country. I have an excuse, but your sister...
when we met, we lived in Ukraine, and you had tons of friends.
Friend. No, yeah. Mike, I was like, ooh.
So, now you have a smaller circle of friends, but a very close circle of friends.
Exactly. So. No, I still have my friends, but, from Ukraine and stuff, but it's not like you can be really close with them.
Yeah. You've adopted a lot of my friends as your friends and vice versa. And I think that's healthy. And of course, in a relationship, you're going to no longer depend on your friends as much, right? When you're single, like your friends are your family. And then when you get in a relationship, it's a balancing act trying to manage the closeness with your friends without just being the guy or the girl who's like, oh, bye, I'm like in a relationship now, right? That's exactly. A red flag to begin with.
I also got very lucky because both of your sisters, they were very loving and accepting of me. So I had the best possible scenario moving to the different country and having your sister just being so loving. So they are my friends, and I know I can rely.
And now you make some cool golf friends on Instagram.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, I'm developing.
Yes, all right. The next red flag is that she controls the direction of the relationship. And that's never a good sign. You're the masculine leader. You're the man. You should steer the ship. And if you feel like a passenger, well, then guess what, buddy? You are.
You are a passenger.
She dictates when you move in, when you commit, what your boundaries are, and what's normal. And if you resist, she threatens to leave or she guilt trips you. So this dynamic is never sustainable, and it often leads to her cheating or blowing up in the future.
But it's also, I wouldn't agree that only just cheating. I think sometimes when they're so focused on that person that they're their whole universe, they just want to make sure that
it's not definitely
because like my first boyfriend, that example I was giving, how he was controlling, his parents are actually, one of them was caught cheating. And they got divorced when my boyfriend at the time was a child. So that's why his controlling came up be so severe, because he was scared that I'm also cheating and we are also going to break up and he's going to re-experience that trauma, right? And obviously he needs to work with psychologists so he doesn't put that baggage basically on his new relationship, because there is no bright future with that. But because he experienced that, that's what he is as an adult right now. So it's not always about that the girl will cheat. I think it's also...
No, I'm just saying that is unfortunately the outcome in a lot of these scenarios when you're dating a man who's behaving like a boy and who's not leading the relationship. Ultimately, you either leave him or you find somebody who is more manly.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I see that right now. Yeah, there is, yeah.
Yeah, bottom line, lead. If you let her lead, you're going to run into problems. And, women don't want to lead. They want to be passengers. So
even if they tell you they do, is actually not there is no chance I want to lead.
Yeah. There's a great analogy.
No, thank you.
There's a great analogy in the book, The Value of Others by Orion Taraban. He has this whole captain-passenger metaphor, and he does a really good job of explaining why it is in a man's best interest to be the captain, and it's in a woman's best interest to be a passenger. And if those gender roles are screwed up, then you have lots of issues and drama.
That's a great book, actually, where I was listening with you in the car a lot to that book. So I actually recommend it to everybody.
So the next red flag is you're constantly feeling like you're walking on eggshells.